before I head back, I want to show y'all something. There's a cemetery over here that I think needs to be talked about. Back in the days of segregation, there were two cemeteries. There's this one, which was for African Americans, and then the other one on the other side, which I've been in and filmed a video in. Sorry, my app started talking to me. So there was a cemetery for white people, cemetery for black people, and of course the white cemetery was always kept up. This one ended up being slowly neglected over the years, and recently they've been trying to restore it and all that stuff. So there's some really old ones here, and then there's some fairly recent ones. And it's called Lee Kirkland Cemetery. Lee Kirkland, I'm pretty sure, was an individual who took up the cause, who owned this land and wanted to make sure that the graves were respected, because there were some service members in here. And it's just a really interesting story. At the end of this video, I'm gonna do a little bit more research, and then I'll let you know. Okay, I checked really quick. Lee Kirkland was a city worker, and this is, I mean, even slaves were buried here in the 1800s. And Lee Kirkland was a city worker who took up the property and maintained it himself because he saw it was being so neglected and overgrown. And there's a lot of old gravestones here. And after he passed away in the mid-19th century, I think it was in the 1970s, I think maybe he passed away, 60s, 70s, somewhere around there, maybe even earlier, it started getting neglected again. And of course some of the families couldn't afford to maintain it, and it was just neglected. And recently they just did this addition right here to Penman Road, which is that road right there, and there was a big controversy because they were just going to pave the road, and a lot of families were like, no, we have people buried on that land and you're going to put a road over it. They did all these tests and stuff and found that, you know, some people were just misunderstood about the situation. But just because there were no gravestones does not mean their family was not buried there, because back in those days nobody cared about them, unfortunately. And so, you know, and a lot of people were like, oh man, they're just trying to, you know, they feel like they're entitled to something. And I was always like, their family members were slaves and were poorly recognized by the government, and you want to say that they don't have any reason to feel that way or feel scared that their family's remains might not be found or might be just turned into a road? That's ridiculous, and I hate that kind of ignorance. And unfortunately a lot of people in this city had that ignorance, and some people still do, in terms of what they think of this cemetery itself, which is sad and unfortunate. It's ridiculous. There's been some a couple young guys, maybe a little bit older than me, that have been taking upon himself like to volunteer and clean all these graves up. He's been in the news and stuff. Some controversy because the city's saying stop touching the gravestones, blah blah blah, we're taking care of it. Meanwhile he's like, dude, there's bushes and grass that's like up to my knees and gravestones that have fallen over. You're not doing a darn thing.
Time.
And some of these are really old. Some are broken. (1905). Some of these you can't even read anymore. It's actually really sad that this was allowed to happen. And some of these people were veterans. I'm pretty sure that's the guy who took care of it, Lee Kirkland. So he died in 1960. Yeah, it's sad. For those of you that are watching this on my main channel, this is just going to be a part of my walk video. For those of you guys that are seeing this part on my daily vlog channel, it's going to be on my daily vlog channel. It's going to be my daily vlog, part of my daily vlog for today. So